Cassie, it's a great day to sell real estate, meet new friends, and love on people. I'm Tina Coombs with Ketchum Realty Group, and I'm here today with Melissa Hurst with Hamrick Insurance Associates. So we're going to talk a little bit about what the consumer wants to know. So as a home buyer, from an insurance perspective, I have a question. I know I was told that there was a big red box that goes around the state of Florida. And recently we had the hurricane. If there's a tropical storm or a hurricane and it gets inside the red box, you cannot bind insurance. So if I have a closing scheduled on Friday and this happens on Wednesday, I'm in total system meltdown, right? What happens?
All right. Well, Tina, I'm not as familiar with a big red box. That may just be in the realtor world.
Might have made that up.
But I can say that insurance companies are always out there looking when there's a storm. So they have different people that are always looking for the latest updates, where is the storm moving? Is it increased strengthening? Is it dissipating? And I can tell you that when a storm becomes named, such as a tropical storm or a hurricane, that companies will often place what they call binding restrictions in the areas that they feel like will be affected in the path of the storm.
Okay.
Such as with our Hurricane Hermine that just came through. As you know, it affected the Tampa-St. Pete area before it affected North Florida.
Right.
So companies issued binding restrictions for those South Florida areas that no policies could be bound or issued during that time. Now, as we know, the storm quickly moved up to North Florida. So as the storm moved, binding restrictions were lifted for the Tampa-St. Pete area and placed in our area. So I would say if you know that you have a closing that's coming up, to work with your realtor, work with your banker so that you can avoid any possible interruption to your closing by binding early, if at all possible. Because typically, binding restrictions are placed there and not lifted until 72 hours after the storm passes. So to avoid any interruption in closing on that beautiful new home or the sale of that property, I would say bind early.
Absolutely. I think that's important. I had people scheduled, they had their moving truck, they had everything ready, and then here comes Hermione. So another question, I know some people have posted, hey, welcome. Hello, Fernando. We see you. Leslie, hello. We wanted to ask, I know I had somebody post on Facebook, I think it was Mathia Gaines, and she had said that you could claim I'm sorry.
That's okay.
That you could you could claim $500 worth of spoiled food, and that there was no premium and no
deductible.
Yeah, but so how does that work?
Well, I would say to look at your policy, see if you have an endorsement. There are many carriers that do provide an endorsement to the policy that there is coverage. I would say be familiar with your policy, especially during a hurricane.
Yes.
Know where your documents are, know what your policy states, so that you can call to find out that if you do have coverage for that. To be quite honest with you, I'm not as familiar with that as a broad coverage. I know there are endorsements to homeowner policies that do provide coverage for that. And I would say definitely, on behalf of the insured, file the claim. If there's any question, file the claim. Let that be up to the adjuster to determine whether or not there is coverage for that.
And you can call and ask those questions,
You definitely
right?
can call and ask those questions, absolutely. You may, that leads me to the next point of just, as I said, know where your policy documents are.
Jerry, know where those policy documents are.
In light of a storm, anytime you have any damage, be familiar with your coverages. The last thing we want to do is get a packet in the mail with 73 pages worth of insurance documents and read them. So let's be honest, most people don't.
Right.
But I would say that what you need to do is, hit the highlights. Know what they are. Know what your deductibles are in the event that you suffer a loss.
Okay. All right. That's awesome. If somebody needed to get in touch with you, Melissa, to ask those questions, to talk about homeowners insurance or insurance in general, how would they get in touch with you?
Sure. They may reach us here by phone. Our phone number here at the agency is 850-877-3108. I myself work in personal lines with homeowner and we also do recreational vehicles, auto, boat, anything of that nature. And you may also speak with Taylor Hamrick if I'm not available to assist you.
All right. Well, awesome. Well, I'm Tina Coombs with Ketchum Realty, and I'll catch you tomorrow.
I don't know how that